Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into the real world of real estate with someone who truly lives it, both as a seasonal professional and as a busy mom. Meet Shannon, the real mom of real estate. I love that.
Thank you.
A Bay Area native, accredited staging professional, and trusted guide for families looking to buy and sell their homes with minimal stress and maximum impact. With over 20 years in the industry, you look like you're about 20.
Oh, thank you.
Shannon brings a unique blend of business savvy, staging strategy, community values, and real world parenting perspective to everything she does. Whether you're a new agent or a seasoned realtor, get ready to take notes because Shannon's approach is packed with insight, heart, and practical advice you can actually use. So let's get into it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I
Thank
appreciate
you for
it.
having me.
Yeah, I was so excited because I don't have the mommy angle yet.
Oh,
So
yes.
This is the first one where I have a real live mom. Well, actually, April's a mom, but we didn't focus on that. But that's really your tagline, isn't it?
That really is. I am a mom and was very excited to become a mom, and I did it through a different way of adoption and foster care. So that really, yeah. So I have my two daughters. We have our two daughters, going through that process. I'm an advocate, and I help a lot of people that are thinking about adopting. So that's kind of fun.
Lilina?
They're both freshmen in high school and finishing that up.
Excellent, excellent.
And I've had my real estate license for over 20 years. And I started at the front desk and then did transaction coordinating.
Nice.
And then my broker at the time said, well, you have a college degree and you're really smart. You should do this. And I thought he was kind of crazy. And then I got my license and met my husband, Mark, who's in the title industry. So we're both in this crazy real estate world.
Well,
And then, we had our family and everything. And then mommy life starts with, okay, I've got two little kids and my girls are 3 months apart being adopted. We got them at different times.
really, yeah.
So it was like having
3 months
twins.
apart, yeah.
Yes. So the only way I could juggle it all was to start volunteering at school and kind of meeting people. And my previous life, I worked in hotels and event planning, and I loved that. So I kind of jumped in and did a lot of the events, and I started to meet people. And that's sort of how my network, started to grow, as well as being born and raised here. I work on kind of a referral basis. I'm lucky to have friends and family. So that's.
And you meet a lot of people in the community.
I do, yes.
all
Yeah,
you
the
do.
schools. And
How does being a mom shape your real estate career?
Well, it gives me perspective, I think, in the sense where I always try to be authentic and real with people because I'm that way with my kids. I'm a very open mom with my kids about things, and I try to be that with my clients. I try to, as I say, not sugarcoat things, to be real and give them the facts and the data they need, but also with a very empathetic mommy kind of way, in a sense, because
That's nice.
so I feel like a lot of people, they always say, I like your energy, I feel comfortable around you. And I don't know what I do, but I think
Because you embrace them.
I embrace
you know,
them.
Cuddle them like a mom would do.
Yeah. And I know that I think with families, having them and kids, it's disruptive when you sell a house, especially. So I try to be sensitive to their schedules. Like I take a lot of calls at 8:00 or 9:00 at night sometimes because I know that's when they're putting kids to bed.
Well, after they've gone to bed.
Yes, and I have little books. I have found little books in stores that I have, and sometimes, when kids are moving, I give them that so they know about moving.
Oh, that's sweet.
And when they move into a house, when I have a buyer, I always give them a blanket and a cute stuffy so they can, feel cozy and excited in their new home. So just trying to think of things as a mom, what would make things easier.
Yeah. So you literally use the tagline, real mom of real estate. That's your brand, right?
Yes.
And so how does that resonate with clients?
I don't know. I think they sometimes they have, and a lot of times the last couple of years it's really funny because there's these mom Facebook groups and different groups.
Yeah,
And my clients have actually gone on and recommended me. Sometimes you don't even know you're being recommended. And last year
love that.
I closed 3 sales based on people recommending me on mom groups that I didn't even know from out of the area.
Yeah.
And I think the
niche.
number one thing that the reason they chose me is one, because maybe reading the bio and understanding, but for school districts. So knowing like I can tell them about, there's in Petaluma, there's 8 different school districts, which is very interesting versus Novato, where I grew up, where there was Novato Unified.
Right.
So I think just trying to understand, okay, and then tour this school and I know people. And also they say, well, what do your kids do for activities? Oh, you should go here for horses. You should go here for dance. So I think just, here's the summer camp list, because when they're moving, especially from out of the area, they don't know anybody or anything.
Right.
So I think just that connection of let me help you.
Well, a lot of people move from the north, from the San Francisco. up
Same
to-
thing, yes. And I think they're surprised that they could go to a public school a lot of times.
So what do you think are some of the unique challenges that families face with children when they're moving? And how, do you help them navigate through that?
I think just, moving into a population that they don't know people. So I try to I do a lot of like trying to connect them with other people. So maybe like if somebody, has a child, I also have a child that has an IEP and needs some special help with special education. So I know a lot of the services that they may need. So I just trying to see what a family needs and then trying to either connect them with somebody that I know or to reach out to like the owner of a place or get them on a team for a coach.
And so I learned this today, which I didn't know, even though I've known you for quite some time, and you work with me. That you were a stager as well.
Yes.
So accredited staging professional on that. On
Yes,
top of
so
everything
many-
else that you're doing. Tell us about that.
Many
How does
years
that give you an edge in your business if it does or doesn't?
Yeah. So many years ago when I was starting, one of my mentors, Elaine Ramirez, she worked with me at Remax and I just love her. She took me under her wing and she taught me the number one rule in real estate is to read.
Read.
Uh-huh.
Excellent.
I thought that was great. So a lot of people get in trouble because they don't read and they don't know the contract that they're having people sign.
As
so
a manager, I
yeah.
know
So
that.
so as you know, I always call Diana and say, before this happens, I'm asking you, what do I do? So Diana appreciates that. So we went to a staging accredited professional class at one of the California Association of Realtors seminars many years, like 20 years ago, back before staging was really a thing.
Yeah, it wasn't. You're right.
Right. So we kind of thought that would be a fun way to get an edge on things. And it's kind of something I've always incorporated into my business, especially being young in real estate. When I was in my early 20s, I started and I wasn't taken very seriously because I was young, and that was always kind of like, if you don't have gray hair, you must not know what you're doing. That was always the theory. Now we have a lot of young agents, and there's tech. They're a lot more, I think, accepted now. You agree?
It's true. I got my first license when I was 19, and I literally didn't sell real estate. I got another job and came back at 30 because I felt like I was too young.
Yeah.
People didn't.
And people
take
would
me
often
seriously.
ask me, are you old enough to do this? I'm like, well, I passed the same test they did. So I
It's
continue.
life experience.
It
I
is.
think they're
So
looking for.
when I was able to finally get my first listings, the number one thing I wanted to do was to make sure that the houses looked nice, because as somebody who shows houses, it often truly bothered me to go in and see like dirty dishes and unmade beds.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
clutter.
And in those days, that's how it was.
Yeah,
20
dude.
years ago, everybody.
You took
It was-
pictures like with your camera, remember? And you had to download it.
No
We were both old
professional
enough to, there was
photos,
no
yeah.
professional, no videos, there was none of that. It was very
different
We were lucky to get color copies back then.
Yeah, it's true.
Remember?
Yeah.
So,
Basement, scissors, and gold.
oh, I learned Publisher very well. I would do all the flyers in my office
Nice.
back then. But I think just having that perspective and over the years, just kind of incorporating it into my business. And my dad joined when you met
Yes.
me, and we brought me to Vanguard 8 years ago, and we started to stage our listings, and we went from 1 storage unit to 2 to 3 to 4, and now I have a 1,700 square foot warehouse in Katati. And my dad,
So you stage your own?
I stage my own listings, and then
And you charge your clients, or?
I don't. I do it on a commission tiered basis. So depending if they just need styling, staging, or the whole house, it's
Wow.
based. I kind of charge it on that way, or they can pay privately if they would like. But people like that I build it into the
That's really nice. It's gives you quite a different perspective.
It
and
does.
it helps add to getting business, I would
It
imagine.
does. And then when I started staging my own houses for Vanguard, the agents came and they said, "Can you do mine? Can you do mine?" So then now I have an outside business where I stage other agents, a lot of our own company, which is they're very supportive and nice. But I just think it helps. I think of myself as a boutique stager.
So is it a separate business?
It's a separate business. It's called Style to Sold Staging. And I do both, but real estate always comes first. So sometimes I have to take less staging jobs, but I do have a team now at my staging company. So that's helpful. So we can do more things without me. I have to let go of the reins sometimes.
Well, it's nice that you can, have a couple of businesses going at the same time.
It is, especially in the real estate world, because sometimes, the
Sometimes
first
there
few
are
months,
lulls here and there.
it was a little slow in real estate, but I was really busy in staging. And it also helps me gauge the market because I know when I'm getting a lot of staging calls that inventory is coming as
Come
well.
on, it's for sure. It's for sure. So you also have a master's degree in business.
I do.
Has that helped you in your real estate career?
I think it has. When the market kind of slowed down in the 07s, my husband in title lost his job, so I had to take, as I call it, a real person job.
Yeah.
So I went to work for a nonprofit, the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Wow.
And I did development and raised money and events, and I also managed like 40 people at a time sometimes. But my CEO, Jennifer Weiss, she was tough, a great friend, but I grew a lot there, and I wanted to see what my degree could do because, I was always just in real estate right out of college. And then when I had the little girls and they were about 5, I went back to real estate full time. And what the degree and that experience taught me was how to negotiate better, how to say no, because it's hard to say no.
Important to say no sometimes.
And just how to be authentic. And sometimes it's okay that if everybody doesn't like you,
Right.
there's business for everybody, and I want to work with people who I like and who like me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I learned from that. And
So tell us, how do you juggle it all and how do you stay organized with, multiple listings, full-time parenting, and now a staging business? So how do you have systems? What do you do? I mean, give us an overview.
I fly by the seat of my pants a lot.
Lots of us do.
I do have, the typical systems of, a CRM and, that kind of thing.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Not everybody does. That's
No, I actually, it's recent. I was, using spreadsheets for a while and using one with my website, but we just started with Follow Up Boss. We're working with that. I do a lot of, I do some client events every year to kind of keep in touch with my clients. I'm more of a set it and forget it kind of person. So I like to use like the magazines and I send those out to past clients and prospects.
Excellent.
I like to use, even though sometimes they don't like it, Core Fact, because I kind of set up a yearly thing with the kind of postcards I want to send out to my neighborhood farm, and then it's done.
Yeah, but it's done. And
Because if I don't do it, I don't have the time.
well, if you had to think about every month something new to send, I think that's where people get bogged down mostly, is they think, well, I'm going to send this, and no, I changed my mind, I'm going to send that, and then before you know it, the month passes and you didn't send anything.
No, and I think joining and asking for help. So I do a podcast with April Lopez in our office called Realtor Reputation, where we talk about how we're not selling sunset and how the life of real estate is not as glamorous as TV makes it. And, we tell funny, crazy stories.
What's the name of it?
Realtor Reputation. But as you know, there is a crazy story, so we like to, get people to tell us their craziest real estate stories. And I have, my stepmom is now retired. She helps with the kids. My husband's a wonderful help. And I just started a partnership with another realtor, Sandy Moylan, in our offices. So I'm going from Howard Homes Group to Howard and Moylan & Co.
So you have more help.
Yeah, so Sandy's a marketing guru, and she's worked with she's been in real estate 20 years too. And then with my aesthetic and staging and my kind of willingness to talk to people, we've merged.
Nice.
And
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
I think
Congratulations.
just knowing that, thank you. Just to know when help is okay, I think is what makes me the most successful.
Yeah.
You can't do it all yourself. I used to think I
can't.
could.
I mean, people always want to know how to juggle. Time management is one of the biggest conversations, in new age, especially new agents, they'll come in and, well, how do you do it all? Because there's so much to do. I mean, it all seems very easy when it's put together. It's like watching a movie at the end. But when you watch the credits, there's like 900 people.
Right. That's a very good
that
way
made
to
that
put it.
one movie.
That's
It's
very
not just
true.
the two actors. And
No,
the
and
director.
I think that's a really good point. But just knowing to get help, because I think time management I'm very bad at. Like, I'll be honest, like, I put myself last, which is not good for people.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to book
you've
time.
done that still.
Yeah.
young.
But blocking time is important. So
Time
I've been
blocking is
working, I've been really trying to work on that system.
Good.
And I did ninja training, which I've been following those
Good. Excellent.
processes.
So you still educate, you still go out and take classes. You
Oh,
still ask the
yes.
manager for help after 20 years. Yeah.
I feel like there's so much you can learn. And as you know, our industry changes every day.
It is changing all the time. And now we have new buyer broker agreements. And how is that working out for you?
I actually like it.
Yeah.
I really like it. I feel more professional, and I like that. When you list a house, somebody has to commit to you, and I think buyers are sometimes more difficult to work with because you're driving all over the place. You get a call and you have plans with your family on a Sunday, and they're like, "We saw this house. Can we go see it right now?"
And you don't
kinda
know
have
if
to
they're
drop
committed to you
everything.
or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to call them Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts, yes.
We run around, just anybody who called in the
Yes.
old days. Now, I think you're right. I think it's very, very good. It ups the professionalism when people understand how we work as listing and buyers ages and what we're going to do for them. So I think that's really helpful.
Yeah, I have not had somebody, decline to sign.
No,
with me.
people, when they want to buy and they're serious, they'll sign the agreement to work with us, and that's how you know if they're serious. Because why work with people who are just looky-loos? We need to be compensated for our time as well. So I want to wrap up with some of your. I know you do a lot of volunteer work, and I'm always, on top of everything, I think that you're involved with the WISE Foundation, foster care foundations, and also military and first responder families.
Yeah,
That's quite a bit. Tell us a little bit about how that impacts your work and your relationships and your life.
Well, the WISE Foundation was when my kids were in elementary school, so I helped put on the fundraisers so we could have art and music and library at
And
school.
what does it stand for, WISE? Well,
I don't know now, but it's now dissolved, and now they're just a PTO in the last 3 years. But I worked with them for 4 years and did a lot of work.
nice.
And military and first responders, I have military relatives, and my brother's a police officer. I have lots of officers, my cousins in our family. So a lot of my clients are doctors, nurses, first responders. So I sometimes I work with some lenders that give special programs to them. I'll often buy them a home warranty or give appraisals or things like that.
There's lots of programs.
There's lots of programs for that.
Military.
And foster care, we are big parts of, that foundation. There's some local things that we do as in guest speakers and things like that. So I just love it. And I've been very involved in my kids' school and sports that they do because it's important for me to spend time with them.
Of course, on top of everything.
On top of everything else.
We want to, though.
Yes.
I mean, our families are the core of our life.
Well, and especially when you build the family the way we did.
Yeah.
I didn't build it so somebody else could take care of them.
Lovely.
And my one daughter loves to help. So if you ever see her at an open house, she's usually handing out.
Oh, I can't wait. So tell me, I'll wrap up with this question.
Yes.
So what advice would you give to a new agent who is also a parent trying to balance it all?
I would say to join a team. I think going into it alone is really hard, and taking the test has nothing to do with real estate. It's
Right.
and what you read in a book.
Hands-on.
It's kind of like being a parent. You could read a book about parenting, but no one's gonna when the child is screaming in the middle of the night, right? So I think joining a team. I think educating yourself. I think allowing a good 6 months to get started.
Yeah.
And also make sure that you have the funding to back you. I think it's it's hard if you don't. Like sometimes people think they're gonna just jump in and be like these TV shows, and it's not real.
Yeah, the TV shows crack me up. But
Yeah, I know.
I guarantee
That's a whole nother segment.
it's okay.
So I think
Where is TV?
Yeah, and I
That's
think,
what
and I just learned
This is real life.
And also, the last thing I'll say is, do not read everything online. Like that's another thing we talk about in the podcast. Make sure your real estate that you're reading about is localized, because sometimes there's a lot of nationwide headlines that don't necessarily pertain to our area,
Right.
because we do live in California and we do have specialized markets versus the Midwest or other
And
places.
wherever you are, you should
Right.
read the local information.
And I think that that's important.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it can be like doom and gloom, if you start reading all these headlines, and and be positive.
There's always, I like to quote Jim Cramer, who's the financial guru, on Mad Money, but he says there's always a bull market somewhere. And the reason I like that quote is because I've always said there's always a real estate market. Always, whether it's a buyer or a seller, good or bad, there's a real estate market.
I mean, look at the short sale market, right?
Yeah. There's plenty of business to be had out there if you want to work, and it just takes hard work.
It does. And I think the final thing I'll say is you have one reputation.
Yeah.
And that's all you get. So you need to be good to your colleagues and to hold yourself with ethics and dignity, because sometimes there's people that you have enjoyed working with and not. And if there's ever a choice between the two, they're going to pick the person they enjoy working with.
I said it.
So
I agree.
I think that's something I learned is you try.
Well, I would work with you on any
Well,
transaction.
same.
It was such a pleasure.
Thank
always
you.
so upbeat and personable. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Paula. Thank you for bringing me to Vanguard.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for being here today. Have a good afternoon. You too.